I took a field trip to the Newark History Museum, which is located under the railroad bridge on South College Avenue. The museum is ran by volunteers of the Newark Historical Society, and admission is free. The museum is split into different displays that show different pieces of life in Newark through the years. The first display focuses on Delaware's involvement in baseball. There are artifacts and articles about the only MLB player from Delaware to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, and about the Little League team from Newark that made it all the way to the World Series in 2013. This display that the kids will see as they walk through the door will pull them in and get them excited to learn about what makes Newark, Delaware unique. The next display shows Newark's progression from a village to a town to a city. Artifacts on display include one of the first streetlights ever put up in Newark, a piece of a wooden water pipe from the 1800s that was dug up under Main Street, and even paper bills of Newark's own money. There are also artifacts and articles about the development of a government and a police force in Newark. On the wall behind the display, students can look at a map of the village of Newark from 1858 and a map of the Newark area in 1893, showing what their town looked like 150 years ago. Then there is a display that tells the story of how a small preparatory and grammar school in 1765, called the Newark Academy, grew into what we now know as the University of Delaware. This display also shows notable graduates and highlights some of UD's many contributions to the world. Following this is a display that honors those from Newark who served our country in the U.S. military. The display shares the stories of fallen soldiers and our hometown heroes from World War II, and recounts Delaware's role in the war and in history. Newark has many old churches, and this display highlights some of the oldest and most influential in the area. The museum also houses the old church bell from St. John the Baptist Church, which has been in Newark since the 1700s. In 1837, the Philadelphia, Wilmington, and Baltimore railroads extended to Newark, diversifying our local economy. This display focuses on the development and advancement of the railroad system in Newark and how it affected Newark's economy, population, and industrial expansion. Here, students can also reenact what it was like to walk up to the Ticketmaster for a train ticket back in 1877. With the extension of the railroad into Newark came an expansion in manufacturing. Students can learn about the Curtis Paper Mill, the Continental Fiber Company, the National Vulcanized Fiber Company, and the American Machine Company, which were all in Newark between 1850 and 1990. Students can also learn about how these companies affected our population and economy within Newark. The next display showcases Newark's firefighters. There is only one paid fire company in Delaware located in Wilmington. This means that every other fire company in the state, including Newark, is ran by volunteers. Students can learn about the formation and growth of Newark's volunteer fire company, as well as advancement in equipment and historical fires of Newark. Then there is a display about family-owned businesses, which have been the backbone of Newark's economy for over 2 centuries. Here, students can learn about some of the staples of Old Newark, including the Stone Balloon, Bing's Bakery, and Richard's Dairy. There is also a display that follows the growth of the African American community within Newark, focusing on the New London Road community, which was segregated from white Newark residents. It depicts what life was like within the community and showcases the development of its 3 churches, community center, and park, which are still active today. Next, students will learn about the Chrysler Assembly Plant, which was built in 1951. Employing many Newark residents and boosting our local economy, it was originally constructed to supply tanks for the U.S. Army in World War II. It later became an assembly line for everyday cars such as the Dodge Durango. Then there is a display about Gore. This display tells a story of how Gore was founded in a garage in Newark and how it grew into the company that it is today. It also shows the variety of products that contain Gore and shares their cutting-edge technologies that continue to enhance our everyday lives. There is also a display about Newark High School. Here, students can learn about the history of education in Newark. The display includes the high school marching band uniform from the 1950s and a Newark High School diploma from 1910. There are also numerous yearbooks that tell the story of what it was like growing up throughout Newark's history. And of course, what would Newark be without Main Street? The final display shows this picture of Newark's Main Street from 1940. The display showcases iconic buildings and shops throughout time and recounts newsworthy events that have taken place on Main Street, such as an explosion in 1909. It also shows 3 locations where pictures have been taken over time to show the change. The first pictures are from 1954, the second from 1983, and the color photos are from 2014. This allows students to see how change can take place over time and how sometimes it can stay exactly the same, like in the case of Abbott's shoe repair. And let's not forget that the museum itself is a landmark. The Newark Passenger Railroad station, built in 1877, speaks to the Victorian times it was built in. Some of you may have noticed the reflections off the glass in some of my pictures that read men's room and ladies' room. These are not bathroom signs but entrance signs leading to 2 separate waiting rooms on each side of the building that are connected by the ticket office, which also has separate ticket windows. As I said before, the Newark History Museum is ran by volunteers. These volunteers from the Newark Historical Society are very knowledgeable and are available to give much more information than is written in the displays and to answer all questions. There are also binders throughout the museum that have articles giving interesting facts about the history of Newark as told by its residents. On this trip, students will gather information about the history and growth of Newark in order to create a timeline of their town's history and analyze change over time.